So yeah, I'm solo tonight, which is kind of some stuff because I don't really love being solo. But my co-host Jay um, somehow got super duper sick, which sucks. And I feel very bad for them. I don't want anybody to be sick. Everybody stop being sick. Um, Especially on New Year's Day. What a bad day to get sick. Like that is not a good way to start the new year. It is also, especially since this seems to be the internet's kind of thing, which is, excuse me, we we were really unhappy with how everybody seemed really unhappy with how 2025 went. 2025 was not a great year, and everybody seems really frustrated by it. And so, yeah, that's so the fact that my co-host is starting 2026, like hacking up along and not feeling good, I'm like, oh, that's not good, right? Because we really need 2026 to really step up its game. Um, for what's going on because 2025, quite frankly, was kind of a dumpster fire. I'm really curious to see what 2026 is going to bring. I don't. I unfortunately have to say I don't. I don't have a lot of hope these days. I just don't. Um, usually I'm producing and co-hosting, but today I'm producing and hosting all by my lonesome, all by my lonesome. So I don't know what to do. One of the things that came up in our chat though, and this was actually really funny, and also not in the least bit surprising to me, was so in case you don't know, New Year's Eve going to the Space Needle show. I don't usually do, and the reason I don't usually go to the Space Needle show in Seattle is it's January in Seattle. The weather is usually garbo. Like it's usually really 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 bad. And so um I don't ever go, and the crowds are bad and everything else. But this year in particular was especially bad because the fog was absolutely ridiculous. You cannot see really the top of the Space Needle, as you can see in this right here. It's it's honestly quite terrible. I this is why I don't bother going because you have no idea what you're gonna get out of a out of a Space Needle fireworks show. Some years it's really really great, and it's clear. I mean it's cold, but it's clear, and so you can see, and it's fun. But this year it was the exact opposite of that. It was absolutely crap. It was just it was freezing cold, and it was foggy, and you couldn't see anything. So I saw a lot of jokes about that last night. Somebody in our Discord mentioned it, so I wanted to come in and be like, yeah, you know, there's, that's a thing, you know. Um, um, yeah, it's why I don't go. I was actually talking to a coworker about this the other day. Um, New Year's used to be my absolute 100% favorite holiday. I was really not a big fan of Christmas. Thanksgiving was always kind of mid on. Didn't like Christmas. Loved New Year's. That was pretty much the case until I was about in my not quite my mid 30s. My like the middle part of my early 30s was when I really kind of changed, and I just the allure of New Year's. I used to love New Year's because New Year's was, it was symbolic of things changing. There's always another shot at something different happening and things like that. And I think a lot of that allure has left me as of late. And so I don't really vibe on New Year's anymore. And quite frankly, we get to the point in the year where like I'm ready for winter to be over, and that has officially happened. Like, okay, winter, you had your run. There was a good 2 months there, like November, December, middle of October, all that. Nope, I'm done. You can move on. You can go. I would like spring and summer to return because it's just terrible. It really is bad. Um, but yeah, like I said, I'm solo tonight, so we're going to kind of roll in here. I've got a couple of things to talk about tonight. Just a couple of topics that I think I can do kind of solo. One of which is, derived from the other one, and some of the, again, online reactions I've seen to a bunch of stuff lately. So, with that, coming to you from, well, my own little weird home studio. Welcome to 2026, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Error Code Show for January 1st. It is your place to talk about news, pop culture, politics, gaming, or whatever the hell else we want to talk about. If you want to support the show and you're watching us on Twitch, you can use your Prime sub. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free Prime sub. Just subscribe to the channel. Then it doesn't cost you even any money. You give us Amazon's money, or you can just subscribe. We do love subscribers on the channel, and we really deeply appreciate that. We're marching. We just crossed 2,000 subscribers, and I absolutely love it. Thank you, everybody who's subscribing. We're on our march to 5,000 subs. Follow us over on the Twitters and the Facebooks for follow us on the Twitters and the Facebooks. I'm off today. I really am. Trying to jump in here because I think my stream chat is being strange. So I'm going to sit there and watch it a little bit. And I am just, I don't know, my voice just decided to be like, and fuck you. Screw you today. So we're right there. But we are online. We're here. So again, I'm solo tonight. So keep that chat really active because it really helps me when I'm having to talk to a blank screen by myself, is when the chat is really, really active. Could you be surprised how hard that is to do? It's one of those weird things where like, oh, streaming should be easy. Dude, it's hard to stream when you're solo, and my co-host does it here tonight. So yeah, it's a new year. I want to be hopeful. I really, really do. I really, really do. Drop in the chat what you guys were doing for your New Year's Eve. I'm kind of curious what everybody else did, and we're actually going to talk about what I did for at least part of my New Year's Eve as kind of a part of this first topic tonight. So we're going to jump right into our first topic right now. So let me move this over here so I don't look like I'm looking off into the distance. Okay. So actually, I'm going to move a couple of windows around just so I can do this. Gaming at home. Look, that's not a bad way to spend New Year's Eve. Okay. Anybody that tells you that's a bad way to do New Year's, that's a great thing. Somebody else in the YouTube chat is saying sleep. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I honestly didn't do much. New Year's Eve karaoke party at home. Okay. See, that's fun to have people over do a karaoke party. That's not a bad gig. So yeah, drop those in there. If there's any topics you want us to cover toward the tail end of the show, go ahead and drop them in the chat and I will try and get to them at the last segment of the show. Watch the Seattle. So yeah, we talked about that just a couple minutes ago in the cold open Seattle Space Needle fog lamp that was last night. It was bad. That's why I don't go down there ever. Ever. I just don't go down there. So anyway, let's jump into our first topic tonight. And it's something that came out last night. After a decade on the air and 5 seasons, Stranger Things has finally ended on Netflix. The final 2-hour plus episode dropped on New Year's Eve at 5 o'clock Pacific time. There were innumerable theories about what's going to happen in this final episode, and everybody was really wondering where they were going to end the show. And without going into too many spoilers, basically there was no theories I saw that were right. And we're going to talk about that again in a little bit. But yeah, there was basically no theories that I was like, oh, look, that one happened. So what did I think of it? Bottom line up front, here's the thing. It's like a, I kept vacillating between like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. Okay. I'm going to stick with an 8 because overall I enjoyed the finale. Okay. I really was. I did. Now, I will allow for the fact that part of my enjoyment may have come because I don't know if you heard this. They put the finale in theaters and they live pushed it in theaters at the same time that they pushed it onto Netflix. My daughter, who's become very much into Stranger Things, she wanted to go. So for New Year's Eve, I took her at the same time that it was premiering on Netflix to go see Stranger Things in the theater. I will say this, and I sent my wife a picture, okay? I have not seen a movie theater that packed in a long, long time. I don't think I've seen movie theaters that packed since Avengers Endgame. This, and I went to early screenings for Superman, Fantastic Four. I went to a bunch of screenings this year. Um, I have, oh boy, that theater was just bursting at the seams with people. I will say, and the reason I say that I may have a better feeling on this is that I got that collective experience. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about seeing Stranger Things the finale in the theater was that collective experience of the audience all reacting together. The audience all at the same time being like, what? Or, like laughing at very, very funny parts. You know, it was really, really great. It's something I've deeply missed about the theatrical experience. Multiple times again, where the audience cheered or jeered or laughed, or like there were points where everybody was like clapping, like "Yay, thank God!" There was a report from Deadline yesterday that they actually sold over 1.1 million seats to the Stranger Things finale. It was a great idea on the part of Netflix. I think that it helped the theaters at a time when we're in that period where they need to kind of bang some cash because the early part of the year is not very good. It's this. Going back to my finale rating, here's the thing. Stranger Things was always a good show. It was never a great show. It was never a show where I was like, this show is amazing. Oh my God. It's not, and it never was. It never was, okay? It is not a great show. It never was a great show. It's a good show. And the finale was good. And that's it. It wasn't great, right? There was one major, and again, I don't want to go into spoilers in this part, and I might do a spoiler one later, but probably not. But there was one major plot line plot point that I was like, why didn't we resolve this thing? And I'm confused. But it wasn't it didn't impact the overall ending of the show. It was just something that I noticed. So I was like, that's weird. Like, why wouldn't we talk about this? And so that was the only thing that really bugged me about it. I thought pacing wise, it was good. There was a lot of people who were kind of complaining about, like the real, the battle sequence, the meat of it happens in the first 50-ish minutes, right? And then here's the thing. And without going into too many spoilers, you guys all know how this was going to end, right? Like, Vecna wasn't going to win, right? Like nobody's dumb enough to think that the bad guy was going to win. Vecna loses, right? I don't even think that's a spoiler. You should have expected that to happen. That happens about, oh gosh, not quite halfway through the episode. And again, I don't want to go into too many spoilers. And then and the rest of it's resolution. It's them resolving what's going on. Again, I have no I have no it was good. It was good. It wasn't great. It was fine. I had no real big complaints about it, nor was I jumping out of my seat with how good it was. It was just good. What's interesting about this is the internet reactions have kind of, and again, we're going to talk about this in the next segment. The internet reaction to this has been exceedingly divisive. It's very much, I loved it, or I hated this. This is garbage. I can't believe they did this. I think a lot of that has to do with, and this is the danger with these big breaks in these shows, right? The same thing fucking happened in Game of Thrones. Okay? When you have shows like this, right? And I'm not talking about shows like The Pit or, things that don't have a lot of theorizing to them, but anywhere where there's mysteries and theorizing where the audience has the time to spend 3 years on Reddit rewatching and rewatching and rewatching your show to theorize about what they think is gonna happen, I find that breeds a lot of disappointment. Okay, because people spend so much time thinking about it that they don't just enjoy it, right? And I think that's one of the problems. And for me, Stranger Things was something that I watched because, again, I thought it was a good show, but it was never something that I was like, I must dig into every little detail. Let me pause here and, oh my God, that dial is a different color. There was never anything like that for me with Stranger Things. So I was very much able to watch this from the perspective of, I'm just watching the ending to a show that I thought was pretty good. And the ending was pretty good. There was a moment there at the very, very end where I got, I was like, oh, this is nice. There's a very emotional moment at the end that had me welling up. I was like, okay, that's good. But yeah, overall, I don't. Let me rephrase what I was about to say something and it's not true. I was about to say I don't understand the anger. The bad thing is I do understand the anger. I just think it's deeply, deeply misplaced. And again, we're going to talk about that in the next segment. It's crazy. And the YouTube chat in here is being like, yeah, the audience will go goblin mode between seasons. They absolutely will. The audience will sit there and they will nitpick every little tiny little itty bitty detail and they will produce more hours of content than exist in the show, talking about the show and what they think is going to happen or what these things meant. And to a degree, that's good because it shows the popularity of the show, shows that people are invested. But again, I think that people start speculating, and then when it doesn't come out the way of their headcanon, they get really, really upset about it. And I just can't get behind that philosophy, right? I would encourage people who've watched the finale, if you're feeling like you didn't like, go back and watch it one more time, but without any of that, try and push that expectation out of your mind of what you thought was going to happen, and look at it in the context of what they were doing, right? This movie was always the Goonies on steroids, right? This was very much a concept show. We're going to do a bunch of 80s nostalgia stuff. We're going to take a lot of inspiration from things like Goonies and Stand By Me and whatnot, all these 80s kid shows, these kid movies, or these movies that centered around children from the 80s. And we're going to create this sci-fi fantasy, mystery thing. And it'll be fun. And I think that there's a point where people started taking it just a smidge too seriously. And so that's that. Yeah, Goonies meets Monster Squad meets Gate. Yeah, that's basically what it is. And again, I'm not here to crap on the finale. I'm not here to crap on Stranger Things. And when I say to you it's not a great show, I'm not saying that it wasn't a good show, right? I'm saying it was a fine show. I'm not crapping on it. I'm saying there's a thick demarcation line between a good show and a holy crap, that's a great show. And Stranger Things never quite hit that mark. Okay. But it was never, I don't think it was ever really trying to. It was trying to be what it was supposed to be within the genre that it was supposed to be. And that's it. So, yeah. So anyway, like I said, I give it like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. I keep vacillating on the number. It was good. It wasn't great. You're not in the 9 and 10 range where I'm like, oh my God. But when I walked out of the theater after watching it, I was satisfied. I was overall, I guess that's probably the best way to put it. I was satisfied. I was satisfied with what I saw. So, anyway, did you watch the Stranger Things finale? Do you think that I'm crazy? Please call me a Netflix shill. I love that because it's always my greatest feeling when people call me a shill. Okay? It makes me feel so good because it means that I've made it as a YouTuber. Okay? When you start calling me a shill, even none of these people are paying me. Anyway, let us know what you think down in the comments below. Excuse me, I don't know what is with my voice this afternoon. you know, it's yeah, I seriously don't know. Um, um, sorry, hang on. This is all craziness. Anyway, our next topic, our next topic, our next topic is going to be me because what this opened up in what I saw from the reactions to the finale brought me back another topic that I've talked about kind of in brief and we've touched upon a few times in the show. And so now I'm gonna, because I'm solo tonight, I'm gonna do a deep dive. Before I do deep dive, I'm gonna go back here. Let me go back to the chat really quick. Um, could this become a new Netflix concept with them wanting to buy WB? Um, I definitely think that it could be. Um, I also think that for shows like Stranger Things, I think what Netflix has been doing, they did it with Knives Out, they're doing it with Narnia, they're doing it with this. They're testing the water. And really the funny thing is every time Netflix has gone this route and like pushed this stuff to theaters, it's worked out for them. Um I think that it's great. I'm not familiar with Iron Lung, so I can't really speak to it. I apologize. I wish I knew more. I really do, but I don't know much about it. Um, there you go. Do New Year's resolutions work to change our behaviors? Um, throw that in there just at the end of this one. We might chat about that for a minute. Um, um, yeah. So anyway, back to the chat. Um, yeah, it's yeah. Oh, somebody's bringing up a good point here, and this is a heavy thing that Netflix has got a history of doing, and that's this. Netflix will periodically just cancel shows out of nowhere and they get no resolution. So, all you Stranger Things fans, remember you can also get no resolution because Netflix has done that shit a bunch of times. Okay? Um, yeah, don't be shocked when Netflix is like, fuck you and your resolution. Because they've done it. They've done it a bunch. A bunch. Um, so yeah, at least they actually finished it. You know. Um. So we'll talk about some of that later. Tired jumping the shark, inspired fighting the shark. There you go. I like that too. Yeah, that's what we need to do. We need to have them fighting Sharknado. Okay, that's what we need to have. Future stream topic. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. I honestly don't know much about the thing. I'm very tertiarily what I want to use. Aware of it. So there's that. Okay. Let's move on to topic number 2. I'm going to do this so I just try to get my stuff there. And this one was inspired by what I saw from the Stranger Things finale. Okay. Like we talked about in the last segment, the Stranger Things finale was fine. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't revolutionary. It was fine. But what really got me as I was going through social media last night afterwards was the reaction to the episode. Okay? It absolutely shocked me how unhinged some of these fan reactions were. Completely unhinged. And it reminded me of other times that I've seen this happen with other fandoms. And I realize it's this unhinged behavior, this absolute crapping on the finale, this absolute anger at how the Duffer Brothers chose to end this is not about Stranger Things. It has nothing to do with the quality of the writing, the quality of the episode, or what they did, right? What plot stuff they used to get to the end. This is all about fandom. And I'm going to talk about this for a few minutes. And I'm going to make 3 primary points, right? That I want all my people in fandom to understand. Okay? I really do. Okay? And I want you to understand these 3 points coming from the perspective that I'm coming from, which is I've been part of fandom since I was very, very young, since the 1980s, pre-internet, okay? Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who. I owned a game store. I loved geekdom so much. I owned a game store and I've published my own tabletop RPGs. Okay. I love geekdom. I love fandom. I love all of it. Okay. I absolutely adore it. Okay. Absolutely, absolutely adore fandom. Here's the issue, the 3 points that I'm going to make on this topic. Okay. And this goes out to all my fellow fandom people out there. Okay. Just because you don't like something, that does not mean that it's bad. A lot of the reactions I keep seeing with stuff like this is it's bad writing, it's bad, it sucks, it's bad, right? You can dislike something without it being a bad thing, okay? And you guys have got to get this through when you're part of these fandoms and when you're looking at these properties. Bad writing has become a lazy catch-all phrase. I'm sorry, it just has. It's bad writing. It's bad writing. It's better. Stop it. Just stop it. It's not bad writing. It didn't work for you, and that's okay. A valid opinion is saying, I didn't enjoy this, right? Calling it bad writing is not what it is, okay? As one of my favorite movie YouTubers says, right? We love to speculate about movies and TV shows and all the things that we love. Don't let your speculation become expectation, okay? This is another thing that I kept seeing with this fandom, and the people were having these very visceral reactions to what was going on with this particular finale, right? Which is, they had made all this time, they spent all this time theorizing and doing all this stuff, and theorizing is fun. It's part of being in the fandom. But if you get mad because your headcanon didn't become the canon, that's not bad writing. That's unmet expectations. I kept seeing this. This was one I saw on TikTok last night. After this many years, all the Stranger Things fans wrote a better ending than the Duffer Brothers. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You think you did, but until you sit down and write it and then film it and then show it to people, you don't know if it's going to play out on screen the way it's appearing in your head. That's just a fact, okay? It's not bad writing. It's unmet expectations that you made, okay? The show didn't fail you. Your expectations did, which leads to the next issue that I see with fandoms in general, okay? This is point number 2. You don't have to join every fandom, okay? Stranger Things is a cultural phenomenon. It's a huge hit and things like that. And there's lots of people out there who are just watching the show, enjoying it, and moving on with their lives. To make it part of your fandom, and again, I'm not discouraging you from fandom. What I'm saying is you don't have to join every fandom. I love fandom too. But I don't join every fandom because every fandom's not for me. Not because they're bad, but because it's just not my wheelhouse. It's not what's there for me. I don't love One Piece, right? I am not part of the One Piece fandom. I've tried. It's just not for me, okay? But I don't ever get on the internet, and I literally have been doing this for years, okay? I've been on the internet talking about media and critiquing things for years, but I don't get on here and crap on things that I am not a part of that fandom just because it's not for me. Okay, I don't say something is crap just because it's for me. Saying something not being for you does not make it trash. Okay, don't force yourself into something popular just to tear it down. Okay, that's the thing that I keep seeing is all these people forcing themselves to like join fandoms or be part of fandoms because they're very, very popular. And then they take over that fandom. And then again, when it doesn't end up being for them or when it doesn't being what they wanted it to be when they came into that fandom, they freak out. They get so angry. And I'm like, guys, again, just because you didn't love it does not mean it was bad. And just because it's there does not mean you have to follow it, because not everything's for you. There's stuff that I don't watch General Hospital. There's lots of things I don't do. It's just not my bag, right? But I don't go crap on the people who like it. Okay. And the thing that makes me the most mad about this, and I want you guys to pay attention to this point, not so much for this younger gen, and I think that one of the problems with some of the older generation, specifically millennials, and your younger Gen X, younger Gen Xers, is when you were into fandoms when you were young, you got crapped on for it. I mean, relentlessly, right? It wasn't cool to be into D&D and Star Wars and all that other crap. And I think that there's this weird gut instinctual revenge reaction shit that just happens where, you need to gatekeep, and you need to claim it, right? And just, I'm not expressing that part as well, but it's driving me nuts, guys. Like, just relax, right? And it's also this feeling of entitlement of the creators. Like, they have to make it for you. The problem is there's 10 million yous out there, and not every you is going to like what they put out, no matter what they do. Okay? No matter what they do. Here's point number 3. And I encourage everybody in a fandom to think about this. Okay? Again, I have done this, right? Y'all need to create something for public consumption, right? And I'm not talking AO3 fanfic shit here, okay? Make something, okay? Because I will tell you, one of the things that will immediately change your perspective and will put things into a lot healthier and stronger perspective for you is to make something and put it out there for public consumption, okay? The first time you overhear somebody talking about your creation and calling it crap, it's going to hit you in the stomach like a gut punch, okay? And once that's out there, people feel entitled to do that stuff. And the problem is a lot of you people out here doing this stuff and just crapping on things, you've never experienced what it's like to be on the other side, okay, to be that creator. And it is absolutely 100% heart-wrenching to be in that position, okay? When I published my first game and I overheard somebody at a con talking about my game and calling it shit, okay, man, it's like getting kicked in the gut. But it taught me something, okay? One, for me, was, man, I need to stop doing that to other creators, okay? If you're the Duffer Brothers, if you're George Lucas, if you're any writer, director, creator of any kind, when you're creating, like, you're putting a lot into that. And so when people are like, this is bad writing, this is shit, like, go do it, okay? Because one of the things that caused me to do is it excised the term suck from my vocabulary. I don't use that word anymore when I'm describing media, okay? I almost okay? Why? Because I don't care what it is. Somebody put a lot of effort, and I mean a lot of effort, into creating something, okay? And again, whether it's Hallmark Channel Christmas specials, I don't go over there, and again, we make jokes, and they're doing stuff in good fun, right? But I'm not, if you want to watch those, great, have fun. Apparently they've created a little mini cinematic universe over there, so I've been told, okay? Where they've got like self-referential stuff in multiple films now, right? It's the freaking MCU of the Hallmark Channel. And that's great for them. I'm happy for them. I want them to do that stuff. But I'm also not going to insert myself into that fandom where the other people live and shit on them, okay? And tell them that they suck and tell them that this is crap. I'm not going to do that. Because again, it's not for me. Criticism is valid. Analysis is valid. thoughtful dislike is totally valid. But if you've never had to put your heart and soul into something that, again, you put out for public consumption and let strangers look at, right? And then had those same strangers dunk on it, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Okay? It's easier to call something lazy when you've never made it anything at all. Okay? So those are the big 3 points. Okay? And here's how I'm going to close this out. All right, guys. Fandom should be fun. It shouldn't be toxic. It shouldn't be angry. And if it's not fun, if you're in a fandom and you're not having fun, you need to just walk away from the fandom. Okay? If the creators are creating something, you're like, you know what? I've done this where they got to a point in a creation. Actually, here's the one I'll use. Doctor Who. Okay? I loved Doctor Who, right? Right around the Capaldi era, it started to fall off for me. Whatever her name was right after that, I can't remember. It fell off some more. I kind of came back when Ncuti Gatwa was the Doctor. But by then, I couldn't get back in. Now, here's what I don't do. I don't go over to the Doctor Who places and be like, that sucks. No, I just kind of walked away and said, okay, this was fun. I had a great time with it. I liked Doctor Who. I loved the old Doctor Who. It's not that anymore. I can walk away without crapping all over everybody on my way out the door. Okay? So fandom should be fun. If you're not having fun, leave the fandom, go do something else. Number 2, your passion does not equal entitlement to them either A, creating what you want them to create, or, you know, getting mad because they didn't do that and crapping all over them. Okay? It's not okay. And 3, you can love something without owning it. Okay? I don't go and crap on other people's stuff. Or I don't even say, again, you can love it without having to like feel like you need to control it. Okay? I love fandom. I love geek culture. I have built a large portion of my life around it. Somewhere along the way, a lot of y'all have stopped acting like fans and started acting like shareholders. And that crap has straight up just got to stop. Okay? You don't have to love everything. You don't have to join everything. And you don't have to burn something down just because it didn't end the way that you were hoping. And I'm going to leave it right there. I hope this helps everyone. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Sorry, I had to get that one out. That one was... And this is not the first time I've run into this problem. You know, it's just like, guys, calm the fuck down. It's not the end of the world. I promise. Some of the YouTube chat, which I gotta find a way to get onto screen. Warhammer's a fandom that I just steer clear of entirely. I get that people love it, just not for me. Yeah, and again, that's just it. If you don't like it, don't participate. It's that simple. I will sit in the rest of the Smoke Furious Rage. Yeah. I don't. I used to have it before, and actually, what's funny is I'm gonna go have a conversation with my coworker. She seems to think she can tell me she can convince me that Last Jedi is shittier than I say it is. Because while I don't love The Last Jedi, I don't hate The Last Jedi, and I tell people frequently, and I've done podcasts on this. I can fix Last Jedi with like 2-3 scenes. Reshoot 2-3 scenes, and I can fix The Last Jedi for you. No problem. It's not that bad of a movie. Everybody who craps on Last Jedi, it's not as bad as they remember. Now, everybody who is the ones who are out there being like, it is the greatest Star Wars. It is not. Calm down. It is not the best Star Wars movie ever made. Not by a long shot. But somebody seems to think they can convince me that it's crappier than it is. And I hazard to guess that they are wrong. So, a couple of chat questions. Do I have traditions around last meal of old year, first meal of the new year? I don't. I know people that do that. But I don't. I've never done that. When I used to more vociferously participate in New Year's Eve, Um, when I used to more vociferously participate in it, uh, it was more about consumption. Um, yeah. So no, I don't have that. A couple more chat questions. Fandoms are acceptable cults. Sometimes they are. Did Seattle have that new mayor smell today? No, because the mayor in Seattle is not like the mayor in New York, in my opinion. The mayor in Seattle has very little power. Not really. We're not. Our government's not structured the same way, so we don't have the same like commissioners and the appointments, and it's just not that big of a government. Um, and again, it's yes, they're both cities. Yes, they're both mayors, but it's like comparing apples and coconuts. You know, like yeah, they're both fruits. They both grow on a tree, but they're not the same. So no. Um, I also am pretty cynical about Seattle politics at this stage. Um, Mostly because I think that the people who've got the best intentions, like the new mayor, have no clue under any like in any world how to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. Like just straight up, they don't know what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. Um, so and the ones who are pragmatic and can get stuff done don't have good intentions. You know, that seems to be the nature of Seattle politics. It really sucks. It annoys the ever loving crap out of me. Because I still believe that Seattle is one of the best cities in the country. I love it here. I don't want to leave. But as far as the political stuff goes here, yeah, like the mayoral side of it's not gonna change a lot. This is a company town. It's always been a company town. Um, and that's not going to change at all. Um, so if the Seattle mayor manages to accomplish like two or three things, I'll be surprised. I wasn't a big fan of the last mayor. Honestly, I've been a big fan of the last two mayors. And again, I just don't know what she's gonna do. Right? I know what she wants to do. And again, let me be clear here on this. I know what she wants to do. I don't know how the fuck you're gonna do it, right? Because it's bigger than just the city, right? The biggest issues that Seattle has right now are systemic on a much larger scale than just Seattle. Okay? Seattle is not going to fix the drug crisis in this country. Seattle is not going to fix the homelessness crisis in this country. Not alone. Okay? And honestly, you're bailing water out of a ship with a shot glass if you try. These are systemic, societal level issues that I do not think a single mayor could do. Right? I don't think a single governor. I think state level is probably the closest you're going to get, and you've seen some success when certain states have done certain initiatives to get stuff done. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what she's gonna do. I wish her luck. Much like any mayor or anything like her, Mamdani, all of this. Look, wish them luck. You don't have to agree, but wish them luck, right? If they're successful, great. If the city gets better, great. There was again what I consider the high point of kind of Seattle, which was kind of that. It was really like 2004, 2005 until COVID. It was really like a new era for Seattle. Um, and COVID really hurt it, and it's never really recovered fully. It's recovered a lot. It's like 80%. Okay. But they need to get that next 20% up, and I don't know how you do that at this stage. Seattle's on a cloud at the regional level. Other major cities less likely to act without Seattle going in the same direction. The problem is that there are a lot of the cities around Seattle will actively, they will actively go against whatever Seattle's doing just to spite the city. Okay. And some of these city councils and mayors of the suburbs and exurbs around Seattle, even if it's a good idea, will actively go against the Seattle mayor just because it's Seattle, right? And nothing good could possibly come out of that. That is their belief. That's where they're at. And they will just do it to spite them, right? And if you know anything about, quite frankly, fucking conservative politics has no problem, zero issue, cutting off its own nose to spite its face. Okay? They'll be like, no, I don't want this to succeed. You know, and they will 100% go against Seattle's initiatives because they just want to spite Seattle. And they especially, from a political standpoint, want to spite Seattle's mayor. Okay? That's just the nature of politics in this region. And I don't know how you fix it. I really don't. I don't have a lot of hope. And that's why I'm pretty cynical about it. And why I don't have a lot of hope for it. Because I just don't know. You know, again, it's like the cities and counties that do stuff to spite the governor. Because they're of the opposite party and they don't like the governor. And they're mad about the governor. It really sucks that that's what they feel the need to do. But it's something that they do fucking actively. I mean, a lot. Is spite the state just because they're pissed off about whatever, right? I don't know how you fix it. I really don't. Another question from chat, and actually, while we got it, yeah, again, guys, I'm solo tonight, so the more active the chat is, the more stuff there is, the longer I'm gonna stay on, because I will run out of things to talk to you guys about. I'm skipping a couple of things. What's funny is Jay and I had worked out a pretty decent rundown today, and then Jay got sick, which sucks. Also, the other problem with podcasting right around this time of year is there's not a lot of news, right? Like there's not a lot breaking right now because everybody's gone home for the year. Okay, everybody's done. And it's funny because the people I work with on my regular job, this is pretty consistent. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Do New Year's resolutions work to change our behaviors? I think they can. I think like anything else, anything you need to do to make yourself give you kind of an anchor, to make that self-improvement. Do I think they're necessary? No. Do I think they work? I think they work if you want them to work. I think a lot New Year's resolutions for most people have become, happy wish fulfillment, and I think that their resolutions, are much more about what they want to see happen in the next year versus what they're gonna fucking do about it. You know what I mean? That's really what I believe. Most people use New Year's resolutions for. I think there are very few people who look at New Year's resolutions as a concept on something to work on to change their behavior. They're like, why? So again, most people who I see making resolutions, they're just saying, this is what I want to have happen. This is what I want to do, and we'll see if we get around to it. Mostly I'm hoping for a better year than 2025, especially the way that 2025 ended at my house. I'm not going to go into those details, but it kind of ended in shitland. And shit, and more shit. So it is January 1st of 2026. We're all still alive. Stuff's still happening. There's some stuff to look forward to this year. One of the things we were doing was, and I don't know if we're going to get around to this one next week. Jade got in like 25 most anticipated, or like, I don't know how many Jade got here, like 15 most anticipated movies of 2026. Looks like we're gonna have a good year at the movies. Maybe GTA 6 will come out. Maybe we'll get Half-Life 3. Maybe. Who knows? Right? I'm not, I don't know. One of my favorite shows, which I will be talking about on the show, is coming back. Shrinking is returning for season 3, and I could not be more thrilled. I love that show. If you haven't checked out Shrinking, I highly recommend it. It is one of the most heartfelt, touching, hilarious shows I have seen in things. Again, when we're talking about that, when we were talking about Stranger Things earlier today, that demarcation between good and great, right? To my mind, Shrinking gets to that next level. It is a great show, right? Um, so I think it's gonna be really. I'm really excited for season 3. I hear the Ted Lasso's coming back in the summer. Um, I personally have a very kind of mixed relationship with Ted Lasso. There are episodes I think are great, and there are storylines that they use that I'm like, okay, you're pissing me off now. Um, so couple of honorable mentions because we're not going to go into the whole details. I'm really interested in seeing Michael, that Michael Jackson biopic, not because I think like this is going to be a great movie, but because I'm really curious how they're going to do it. Right? Like, how do you do this biopic in particular? I think that's going to be really interesting. But yeah, we've got some really good media coming. We've got some great stuff. So again, we'll go back and we'll kind of close on this. Don't let the stuff that you love get toxic, screwed because you had this expectation for it that it wasn't going to meet up to because you had this headcanon, right? Enjoy it for what it is, and if you don't like it, that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that hey, they went a different direction, right? I'll use Ted Lasso there. I don't love every storyline that Ted Lasso uses. There's some that they've done where I'm like, ooh, I really don't like that. Um, but I don't think it's badly written. I'm like, I just don't like this, right? And there's stuff that I like, but again, I don't have to lose my mind about it, right? I just don't. It's gonna be fine, right? I will watch it. My wife loves it, so I will watch it with her. Just spend time with my spouse. Excuse me, jeez, I am just all over today. So, all right, last chance. You guys got any more questions? People are saying the YouTube chat's been extra active tonight, and it has been more active than normal. We're actually running a higher viewer count on YouTube than we normally do, by actually a pretty considerable margin. Spicy reactions, hearing that I'm not a Ted Lasso fan. Again, I don't hate the show. I don't love the show. I think it's a fine show. There are storylines that they do that I'm just kind of like, why? Why are we doing this? I don't like this. I get it. I don't think it's bad writing. I don't like it. Right? I'll give you an example. In the last season of 10, I haven't finished it. When Nate goes over to freaking the ex-husband's new team, right? When Nate leaves the Ted Lasso crew to go over to that one is, I don't like that storyline. I don't like that he's over there. I don't like his attitude. I didn't like that he kissed Keeley. I didn't like the way that he set it up for Ted. I think that whole storyline that was jumping the shark, in my opinion. West Ham, thank you, YouTube chat. I don't like that storyline. I don't think it's badly written. I just don't like. I'm not enjoying it. I don't like the storyline. What was the last show movie that pleasantly surprised me? This would have to be something that I didn't think was going to be good, or I thought was going to be mid, that turned out to be better. Ooh, that's tough. That's actually a really, really. I'm gonna have to think about that one. I'm gonna pull that one for next week's show. Because that's actually a really, really good question. That's a really, really good question. I'll be 100% honest. I don't know. I haven't watched Wrexham, and it doesn't. I think it's a neat story. Um, but I don't have any real desire to watch it. It's not there for me. Um, since I'm all caught up on Stranger Things. Stranger Things is over or something else. I'm sure we'll replace that. I'll tell you what I'm really looking forward to is The Pit. Right, The Pit's about to come back, and I am super excited to see season 2 of The Pit. Season 1 was a revelation. I think season 1 again. That's that like we're going to great show, right? The West Wing was a great show. Um, The Pit was a great show. Band of Brothers was a great show, right? And that's the other thing is you know in our thing on media literacy, um, just because we think something's great and somebody else only thinks it's good does not mean that person doesn't understand it. This is another one that's driving me absolutely up the wall lately, right? Is you get a lot of these people who are like, well, I think it's great, and if you don't think it's great, then you just don't understand it. No, I get it. I just don't love it. Okay? And again, Ted Lasso is the perfect example of this, right? Everybody tells me how great Ted Lasso is. Ted Lasso's great. Ted Lasso's great. Okay? I watch Ted Lasso and I go, yeah, it's good, but and people are like, we don't know. I understand. I get it. I just don't like it. I don't like certain things that they do. I don't like certain decisions that they make with the writing in the show. It doesn't make it a bad show. It just means that I don't like that part of it. I was talking to my wife about this. So one of the movies that I'm very much looking forward to this year, and I know we've talked about this on the show, is Project Hail Mary. I am I'm bouncing in my seat waiting for that show to come out, and I'm super excited. It should be coming soon. It is coming soon. But there is a decision in the book, and my wife is going through the audiobook now. There's a decision in the book, and before she got this, I said, I'll be curious to hear what you think, because there's a decision he makes with the writing in the book that I don't love. Right? And I get why he did it. And doing it the opposite way would have been kind of a cop-out way of writing it. But I think there was a good middle ground to hit there. And I don't love it. Now, again, I think Project Hail Mary is a great book. I read the first 40% of it in 3 hours. It's a great book, and Andy Weir's a great writer. There's one thing he does in the book that I'm like, I probably wouldn't have gone that way, but it doesn't. It's fine. But it does make me curious about the adaptation, because I'm wondering if they're going to adapt that particular plot point the same way, and also I want to know if they're going to adapt the ending the same way, because the ending's a trip, and I don't know. So here's the thing. I don't mind how the book ends, right? It's fine. I don't know if I would have ended it the same way, but I think it's a fine ending. It ends okay. I don't know how that ending is going to translate for movie audiences. I don't know if movie audiences are going to accept that ending if they don't change it for the film. So I'm very curious about that. I saw Wuthering Heights. I saw the trailer actually before Stranger Things last night. Again, I hope that you enjoy it. I hope it's a great adaptation of Wuthering Heights. I have no interest in seeing it whatsoever. And I'll use this. Jay on their most anticipated, they've got 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I don't want to watch that movie. I'm not a big fan of that franchise. Again, everybody who likes it, you're allowed to like it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's not on my most anticipated list because I'm like, fine, whatever. I just don't care, I guess would be the best way. There's I've got about 11 on my must-see list for this year. And maybe we'll talk about that. We might save that one for next week. We'll see. I'll give you a hint. not going in chronological order, but in order of my thing. Um, one of my most, this is definitely either number 2 or number 3. And I've got 12 movies on my most anticipated list of the year. Number 2, maybe number 3. I have to sit down and really think about it. But probably number 2 that I want to see this year is The Devil Wears Prada 2. And I don't care. Okay? The Devil Wears Prada was a fucking great movie. It's an awesome movie. It's so well made. I really, really like it. And I am really looking forward to seeing Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway and Stanley Tucci back on the big screen with Devil Wears Prada 2. That movie might make $700 million. Okay? That thing got... people are hyped for that movie. I need to catch up on Fallout, the show. It's on my list. I need to catch up. But again, props to them for producing such a good show. And I really want to see Macaulay Culkin in season 2. That's going to be really interesting. All right. I think that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. I didn't sleep much last night. There's crazy things going on. So, thank you to everybody who joined us. We will be back next week. Devil Wears Prada cosplay. That would just be high fashion, and I don't want to shave my head to look like Stanley Tucci. Because Stanley Tucci is the best. He is the MVP in that movie. I'm telling you right now. His character's the MVP. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. We will be back next Thursday with another episode of the Error Code Show. We love you. Have a wonderful week. Have a great new year. And good night.